Shalom, shalom, Israel. I'm Brother Zahar. This is No Saint Left Behind once again, coming to you with another lesson. I pray that it be edifying. First of all, I just want to start out with giving all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakar Kwadash. And I just want to say shalom to the brothers out there that's, teaching His word and that's been faithful unto the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, and that's doing what He called you to do. You know what I'm saying? Today's lesson is going to be about who are the elect of Yahweh, who are the elect of the Most High. Who is the Most High elect, or who is His chosen? Because if you don't know, the word elect just means chosen ones. So today we want to get into who is the Most High's elect. Because once you get into who the elect is and who the chosen are, then you'll know who the real Gentiles are. Because the Gentiles was the Israelites that was banished out the land, that was scattered abroad, that was keeping the customs of the lands that they was living in, the customs of the heathens. So let's get into this thing today, man. And I'm going to start out with Matthew 24, and I'm going to start at 29. And this is Yahweh Shah speaking, who you eagerly call Jesus. This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 29. It says, and it's written in red, immediately after the tribulations of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And that's talking about when this World War III start. These nuclear bombs and these IBF bombs begin to be dropped. These bombs, the smoke, from these bombs going to create a cloud, which is going to block out the sun, block out the moon, of that nature. And it says, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. What it mean by the stars shall fall from heaven, that's talking about your different rulers, those who are in rulership today, which are your so-called white men, which are the Edomites, your Chinese, your Japanese, your East Indians, your Ishmaelites, your Muslims. All these different nations are in their heaven. They're in their rulership. But once Yahweh Shah return, once this Third World War starts, they're going to fall from their heaven, from their position of power. That's what that is saying. All right, and verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. What it means, then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, it's talking about Yahweh Shah. When you look up, you're going to see Yahweh Shah, who you ignorantly call Jesus, and the chariots and the angels, which you call UFOs. You're going to see all these chariots and angels, because you can go to, matter of fact, let's go here right quick. Let's see what Revelations 1 and 7 say about it. In 1 second, let's go to Revelations 1 and 7. Just to show you what it means by then shall appear the Son of Man. And we know the Son of Man is Yahweh Shah, who you ignorantly call Jesus. And, okay, let me read this again. I'm going to read Matthew 24 and 30. And then shall appear the Son of Man, the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And so once this war break out, this Third World War break out, and when they begin to shoot these nukes, that's when Yahweh Shah gonna show up. It's when the Messiah gonna show up, and and call up His elect. You know what I'm saying? And so Revelations 1 and 7 says, behold, He cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see Him, and they also which pierced Him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of Him. Even so, amen. So what He's saying, every eye going to see Him. So during this time, during this destruction, this Third World War, every eye going to see the Messiah, Yahweh Shah, return to get His elect. The elect of the Most High. So that's what we're getting into, the elect. Let me start that over, Matthew 24 and 30. And then shall appear in a sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. It said all the tribes of the earth is going to mourn. So why is these tribes why are they going to mourn? Because when it's talking about all the tribes of the earth is going to mourn, that's all the people. Because when they see this big so-called black man coming with these angels who they thought was an Edomite, a so-called white man, with blonde hair and blue eyes, when they see him returning, that he's not what he's been taught to be, they're going to mourn because everybody was led wrong. These churches was leading the people astray. All right. And they're going to mourn because when he's coming to kill. He's coming to destroy. He's not coming to bring peace. You know what I'm saying? He's coming to bring a sword this time. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to mourn about that, and they're not going to be delivered. And also, you know, 2/3 of you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you know, y'all going to be the #1 mourning, man, because y'all rejected the truth. So y'all not going to be called up when he comes. Y'all going to have to face this destruction. It says, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So he's coming with power and great glory. That means, that power means he's coming to put people to death. So if you're not rehearsing these laws, statutes, commandments, and calling on the name of Yahweh and the name of Yahweh Shai, you're going to be one of the ones going to be put to death in that time. So it's time to repent and come back. All right, let's go to 31. 31 is my key verse. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds and from one end of heaven to the other. So this says the angels is going to gather the elect of the Most High. And that word elect just means the chosen ones. So we're going to get into who are the chosen and who are the elect. And it says he's going to gather them from the four winds of the it says, and let me read it again. Matthew 24:31. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect, his chosen, from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So we got to find out who are these. I mean, who are the people that were scattered to the four winds of the earth, or to the four corners of the earth. So in order to find out who the elect is and who the chosen of the Most High, we got to find out what people were scattered. And we know, hold on, give me a second. And we know that these were the people that were scattered right here. You so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You Israelites. You are the chosen and elect of the Most High. But we're going to get into it deeper, though. We're going to make it plain for you to see. All right, let's go to Isaiah. Let's find out what these four winds are. Let's find out what these four winds are. We're going to go to, matter of fact, let me get this phone. Isaiah 11 and 10. Let's go. Isaiah chapter 11 and verse 10. One second, I'm getting there. Isaiah 11 and 10. So let's find out what these four winds is. And in that day, hold on, let me a second. Let me highlight this thing. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 10. And in that day, there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an enzyme of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. So, and we know that root of Jesse is who Yahweh Shai, who you English call Jesus. So he should be an enzyme, you know, he's going to be lifted up, you know, a banner, you know what I'm saying, for the Israelites. But it says right here, of the people, which are the Israelites, and it says, to it shall the Gentiles seek, his rest shall be glorious. So these Gentiles right here, we're going to find out that what Isaiah is talking about, these Gentiles are the Israelites that were scattered abroad. These Gentiles are not the other nations. These Gentiles are not considered these other nations right here, 2 through 18. No, these Gentiles are talking about the Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, that's in the four corners of the world. Let's continue to read. Verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Petros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the lands of the sea. So these Gentiles was up there, was talking about the Israelites that were scattered into all these different countries. And they even named some of the countries right here where the Gentiles, were, where the Hebrew Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans were scattered to. Syria, Pathros, Egypt, Cush, you know, Shinar, all these different places where we was taken off captive to. And like he said he's going to set his hand again. The first time when he set his hand against us, he sent us out. He sent us into slavery, into the four corners of the world. But this time he said he's going to set his hand a second time, and he's going to recover. He's going to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left. When he said which shall be left, that means the ones that's still going to be rehearsing his law, statutes, commandments in these different lands. So a second time he's going to come back. He's going to redeem his people. That's what it means, recover. That word recover means he's going to redeem his people. He's going to send out his hand a second time. The first time was to scatter and put them into captivity because of our disobedience, not rehearsing these law, statutes, commandments, and doing what he asked us to do. So the second time, now he's going to bring us back home. He's going to redeem us. Because when we read up there in verse 10, that root of Jesse, which is the Messiah, Yahushua, which is going to be the enzyme, he's the enzyme for us. Because everybody today, mostly everybody that didn't grow up and knowing that they was a Hebrew Israelite, you are considered a Gentile. But once the Most High woke you up, he what? He redeemed you. He brought you back into the fold. That's that remnant. Because 2/3 of Israel, 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans are not going to get it. Y'all not going to make it. And we read that in Zechariah chapter 14 or 13. And so we know that y'all not going to get it. But 1/3 going to hear his voice. He said, for my sheep know my voice. 1/3 going to hear his voice. That's that remnant that he's going to redeem. He's going to recover and bring back a second time. All right, now let's get into this thing, because verse 12. And he shall set up an enzyme for the nations and shall assemble the outcast of Israel. So he's going to set up an enzyme for the nations, but he's going to do what? He's going to assemble. That means he's going to bring back together the outcast of Israel, the outcast of you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you 1/3 that come back and that's coming back to the Most High, that's repenting, you know, from your wicked ways, that's not eating all these unclean foods, these porks and shrimp and lobster, and that's not trying to sleep with another man's woman, and, you know, the people that's rehearsing these law, statutes, commandments and calling on the righteous name Yahweh, the holy name Yahweh, through his son, Yahushua. So that's the symbol he's going to bring back. Symbol means to put back together. So he's putting back his nation together now as we stand. Read that again, verse 12. And he shall set up an enzyme for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. So that four winds are the four corners of the earth. He's going to gather back together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. That's those four winds we were just reading about in Matthew that Yahushua was talking about. That's the elect, the Israelites, Judah, and then the northern kingdom, Ephraim. That's your chosen. That's your elect. We just read it. And we understand the four winds is what? The four corners. Read that again. Isaiah 11 and 12. And he shall set up an enzyme for the nations, and shall assemble the outcast of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Verse 13. The Inu also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim should not envy Judah, and Judah should not Judah should not vex Ephraim. Let me read that again. Isaiah 11 and 13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart. That means, see, right now, what do you mean by the envy also of Ephraim should depart? Because, you know, right now, the so-called Negroes in the northern kingdom, which is your Hispanics and Native Americans, they don't get along. You know, the Mexicans don't like the blacks. The blacks don't like the Mexicans, the Nicaraguans. So, I mean, that's envy between us. We don't get along. We don't like each other. Hell, the blacks, we don't even like each other in our own community. Nevertheless, the northern kingdom, the Mexicans, the Hispanics, your Puerto Ricans and your Cubans, you know what I'm saying? We don't like each other. So the Most High is going to take that envy away. Because we all his elect. We all his chosen people. But out that chosen people, he has a extra election, an extra chosen. Because he's going to put 2/3 to death, but they're going to be born back into the kingdom through the 1/3. the elect of the elect. The elect of the election. All right, it say verse 13 again, Isaiah 11:13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. So pretty soon the Most High going to start bringing the tribes back together, the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom back together. These Mexicans and Cubans and Venezuelans and Brazilians, they're going to start accepting the blacks. And the blacks going to start accepting them, and we're going to come together, and I believe that's when that race riot going to kick off. But that's a whole different other topic. But we getting into who the elect is, who the election and the chosen of the Most High Yahweh is. And so far, we see that you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the chosen, are the elect of Israel, not nobody else. And we're going to keep going a little deeper. All right? Let's go to Jeremiah 1:1. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 1. And it reads, Jeremiah, a servant of Yahweh, and of the Lord Yahweh Shah Hamashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. So Jeremiah is telling you that he's only writing to the 12 tribes, to you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and that we what? The 12 tribes was what? Scattered abroad. That's that four corners, man. We were scattered abroad because we didn't want to do what the Most High Yahweh said unto us. So he caused this evil to come upon us. Captivity, slavery. You know, we lost our power. All right, let's go to, give me a second. Let's go to Isaiah 45. Get back and continue to stick with this election and its chosen. Let's see who the elect of the Most High is, who the chosen people of the Most High Yahweh, who his chosen people is. Okay, Isaiah 45 and 1. I'm going to read Isaiah 45, matter of fact, I'm going to read 1 through 7. So we can get the meat out here, get this election, this chosen people. It said, thus says Yahweh to the anointed, to Cyprus, whose right hand have holden to, whose right, hold on, let me see something. Give me 1 second. Make sure I got the right thing. Okay, I got it. Thus says the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand have holden to subdue nations before him, and I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him 2 leveled gates, and the gates shall not be shut. So what the Most High was doing, the Most High was letting you know that he was with Cyrus while he was defeating all these people and putting us in captivity. The Most High gave him the power to do the things he did. See, these nations couldn't have put us in slavery without the power of the Most High. He given them the power to do that because we are the chosen, we are the anointed. Nobody is bigger and better than we are. But the Most High took that from us and gave it to these other nations to subdue us because we got off the right track and got on the wrong track. We started rehearsing his law, statutes, commandments, and we went against what he said. But let's go to verse 1, Isaiah 45 and 1. I will go before thee and make the crooked paths straight. I will break in pieces the gates of the brass and cut in sunder the bars of iron. And I will give thee the treasures of darkness and hidden treasures of secret places, that thou mayest know that I, Yahweh, which called thee by thy name, am the power of Israel. All right? He said, the Most High said he's only the power of Israel. Even though he helped Cyrus conquer these other nations and subdue these other nations, he let them know I'm only the God of Israel. The only reason that I'm helping you It's because Israel went off. They went astray. All right? Let's continue to read. He says, hold on. I'm going to read that 3 again. Isaiah 45:3. And I will give thee the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I, Yahweh, which called thee by thy name, am the power of Israel. Verse 4. For Jacob, my servant's sake, and Israel, my elect. He's telling you right here, Jacob, his servant, which is the forefather of the 12 tribes, which name was later turned to Israel. So everything that went from Abraham, Isaac to Jacob goes down to the 12 tribes of Israel. He says, verse 4, for Jacob, my servant's sake, and Israel, my elect, I have even called thee by my name. That's why we're called Israel, Yasha'elah, which means princes of, princes of the Most High, or princes of power. I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me. All right, verse 5. I am Yahweh, and there is none else. There is no power beside me. I gird thee, though thou hast not known me. Verse 6. That they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am Yahweh, and there is none else. Verse 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, Yahweh, do all these things. So in this whole thing that I read, all this is very important, but the most important, what we're sticking on today, is who the Most High elect, who the Most High Yahweh elect is, who is the elect people of the Most High. And we see that in Isaiah 45:4, for Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel my elect. He said, I have called thee by thy name. So the Most High is telling you that Israel, you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, are the elect that the angels is going to deliver in these last days. All these other nations, hold on, not this, hold on, my bad. All these other nations right here, from 2 down to 18, they're not going to get that deliverance. He's not their power. He's not their God. Yahweh Shai only coming for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He told you he was only sent for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He knew what he was talking about. Let's go to, matter of fact, let's go over one chapter. Let's go to Isaiah 44:1. I'm going to read that whole thing, 1 through 5. Isaiah 44:1. Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. You hear that? So that's saying Israel, my elect. Israel, whom I have chosen. Israel is the elect, which is the chosen of the Most High. Not these other nations. Only you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans are the election, are the chosen of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You're the only ones that can be delivered in these last days. Isaiah 44:1. Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. Verse 2. Thus says Yahweh, that made thee, and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou, Jezreel, whom I have chosen. Jezreel is just another word, a slang word for Israel, for Jerusalem. For verse 3, for I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thy offspring. So what the Most High is saying, he's going to pour his spirit upon the seed of the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, the Israelites. So we the only people that has the anointing and the spirit to teach this word. These other nations, these heathens, can't teach this word. Only you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans can tap into your spiritual power with the Most High and teach this word. Nobody else can do it. Verse 4. And they shall spring up as among the grass and willows by the water courses. One shall say, I am Yahweh's. Another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahweh, and surname himself by the name of Israel. And so that's why a lot of us has changed our name. Like my name is Zahar. The Bible said that we would call ourselves by, our names of our fathers, or the Hebrew names that he had given us. So I'll be Zahar Bun Yashaela Bun Yahawada. Well, it'll really be Zahar Bun let's see, Yahawada, which means son of Judah, Bun Yashaela, son of Israel. All right, and so we see that who the chosen is again in this scripture. Yet now, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, whom I have chosen. And then verse he reiterated in verse 2, O Jacob, my servant, and thou, Jezreel, whom I have chosen, which is Jerusalem, Israel, which we are the chosen of the Most High. We are his election. We the only people he's going to deliver in those last days. Matter of fact, let's go to Deuteronomy. Matter of fact, Deuteronomy 7 and 6. Let's just get this out. You know, it's a lot of y'all that got Bibles that don't even, they just got the so-called New Testament. How can you read a book from the middle of the book? You'll never understand the book if you're only reading the New Testament. You got to read a book from the beginning so you can understand what's going on. You don't just go watch a movie from the middle of the movie. You want to see the movie from the beginning. You don't get a book and just start in the middle of the book. You want to know what's going on, what led up to this. Why is this saying this right here? How did we get here? What led to this being said? So you got to go all the way back to the beginning so you can find out how we got here. Why this saying what it's saying. So in Matthew 24, Yahushua is saying that the angels is going to save the elect from the four winds. All right, so now we got to go to the so-called Old Testament, the beginning of the book, to find out who is the elect, who is the chosen. And that's what we're doing. And we see that all hands down that you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you Israelites, are the only election and chosen of the Most High. Okay, let's go to Deuteronomy 7. Matter of fact, let's go to Deuteronomy. I'm going to start at Deuteronomy 1 and 1 first, so we can see who Moses is talking to. We should already know, but, you know, this book is really called FUBU. This is a FUBU book. You know what FUBU means? For us, by us. Our ancestors wrote this book for us. So this is for us and by us. This is FUBU. That's what this is. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel. He spoke this word unto all 12 tribes, all Israel, on this side Jordan, in the wilderness, in the plain over against the Red Sea. We're going to stop right there. So he's only speaking this to the Israelites. Now let's see what he's saying. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art a holy people unto Yahweh thy power. So he's talking to Israel. He's saying, Israel, you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you are a holy people unto the Most High. A holy people just means you are set apart. He's not dealing with other people like he's dealing with you. You are set holy just means to be set apart. He set us apart because we are his people. For thou art a holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. You hear what he says? He said he has chosen us to be above all people that are on the face of the earth. Why? That word chosen means what? Elect. Because we his election. The Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, are the elect of Yahweh. He chose us. We didn't choose him. He chose us. We are his elect. We just seen this word again, chosen. When you see chosen, you can swipe it out with elect. It just means the same thing. Matter of fact, let's just get what this word means. Let's get what chosen means. And we're gonna go to the blue letter, and I'm gonna look this word up, chosen, in Matthew's. What would be that? Matthew's. Matter of fact, let's go here. Matthew 24 and 24. No, Matthew's 24 and 31. Let's look this word up. All right, let's go over here and see what he's talking about. go ahead and get this out the way. All right, Ecclesiastes. I'll let you hear it.
Strong's G 1588. Eklektos. Eklektos.
All right, that's the word. That's how you say it's a Greek word for elect. And let's see what it means. Look what it means. It means to pick out, chosen. Chosen by God. To attain salvation through Hamashiach, or it says Christ. See that? To obtain salvation through Christ. Hamashiach Yahawashi. So the only people that can get salvation, even from the blue letter definition, are you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. The elect, the chosen of the Most High. Let's keep going. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 6 and 7. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power had chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all the people that are upon the face of the earth. Verse 7. Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in number than any people. For ye were the fewest of all people. So the Most High didn't choose us because we was a great big nation. He chose us because he loved us. He said we was the fewest of all the people. What they call us today, what fewest means? Minority. Today they're still calling us the minority. But we're not the minorities. You know, we outnumber the sand on the shores. We outnumber the stars in the sky, the Most High said we was going to do. That's because they called us minorities because they had split us up. You know, they told the Negroes that the Hispanics, the Native Americans, you know, the Mexicans and Puerto Rico, y'all not the same people. Y'all different people, which we know that's a lie. And then we got our other peoples in these other lands in China, Japan, and Russia, and Europe, and Germany, in Syria, and India, all around the world in the four corners, that's talking the language of these nations, and that's looking like these nations, and that's keeping these nations' customs that are Hebrew Israelites. They just got scattered, and they look like the land, and talk like, and eat like, and live like the people in the land that they were driven to. Verse 7 again, Deuteronomy 7 and 7. Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people. Verse 8. But because Yahweh loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, the house of slavery, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And so